and these
Forgot to hit record, sorry. Keep going, Christina.
And these issues like keep coming in, and it's all the crazy stuff too with parent, like we had a sit-in last week where they came and they sat on the lawn because they want to come back to school.
Wow.
We want you to come back to school. We don't like this. We don't like this. Yeah. Today I had a parent call me in my office to tell me that I need to be at work.
Yeah.
But I was at work. And, yesterday a parent called me because her son has morning sickness. And it's just like really the things that don't make any sense. But the cohort thing, which is why I jumped in here. So we had that same conversation. And so we go through and I create this whole plan that I think makes sense on my campus. We're a unified school district. I'm the only high school. And I have a comprehensive high school and a continuation school on my campus.
Wow.
So I make this plan that makes sense for what we've got going on. Well, that doesn't work in a unified setting, so we can't do that, and we have to do it worse for the elementary school.
Whoa.
Just do all this.
Oh, man.
So now we're doing this whole other plan that doesn't benefit or in my opinion, doesn't benefit the kids of the greatest need in my setting. In my opinion.
That's tough.
I feel you, Maureen.
Anybody else want to share what they're going through right now? How about Kathleen or Cheryl or Sandra or Donna or Susan? And welcome everybody. Kelly.
Hey, so can you hear me, Katie?
Yeah.
So it's John. So hi.
Hi, John.
Sorry I'm late getting in.
Oh.
I'm on phone instead. So.
Thanks, John.
Yeah. So our district is doing an interesting thing because in Merced County, we kind of all the superintendents said we're going to stick together and we're going to all open the same way and the same time. And then our high school district said all of a sudden last week, we're going to open on the 2nd of November. And so it was really interesting to watch all the other school districts kind of jump to saying, I guess we are too. But now there's this voice of reason that's coming out saying, wait a minute, we're not going to be ready by November 2nd. Wait a minute. We're not going to be able to be all on the same page either because, our hybrid days are going to be different than their brother and sister's hybrid days. So hang on. So now we're kind of swinging back to, hey, well, wait, what's in the best interest of our students on our campuses? So I would just encourage you all to kind of try to bring back that voice of reason and say, whoa, wait a minute, what's in the best interest of these kids academically, and how soon can we be ready? Those are two most important questions, not what's everybody else doing, because, really, as I just heard, if it doesn't work for you in the high school, you really shouldn't be forced to do something that works for the elementary, in my opinion. And I would say it's okay to have a different hybrid model for your high school kids than it is for your elementary kids. But that's just me.
Makes a ton of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. But hang in there, you guys. This is a hard time right now.
Yeah.
And no matter what we do, we're probably going to have 30, 40, 50% of our folks that are not happy with us.
That's tough.
Don't try to please everybody.
How about you, Kelly? Do you have anything to share?
Hi, how are you guys? Sorry I was a couple minutes late. I'm in Ventura County, and Ventura County just got word yesterday that we may be opening in a couple of weeks.
Whoa.
Yeah, so October 21st is the soonest we would be able to open. So of course you have parents that are like, okay, when, what are we doing? And everybody's wondering and questions, and there's that kind of political pressure that you need to open. I'm a middle school principal. So the elementary schools feel the pressure even more because in most situations, the littles kind of tend to start sooner right now. We don't have a plan as of yet for our county, or for our, I shouldn't say for our county, for our particular district. But I think in our district, we already have our cohort, so we know which kids will be here A days, which kids will be here B days. So we did a lot of that work up front in our scheduling, which I think is, some districts haven't done that. So I think we have that going, thank goodness. But I do, people are stressed, principals, as you guys know, like it's just, there's a lot to do in a short amount of time. And our end goal is to keep everybody as safe as possible. So I think our biggest thing having a middle school campus is like, where do we put the arrows on the ground? Do we really need kids to go in this direction and that direction? Do we need to have, little circles on the ground in front of every classroom so that they line up 6 feet apart? I mean, if we leave it up to middle school kids or 7-year-olds for that matter to stay 6 feet apart all day, I don't think it's going to happen. We already have like a little supervision class of 14 on campus right now, and they're having trouble staying away from each other with just 14 kids. So it's all doable. We're all going to do the best we can. That's what we've been doing since March. But I think our biggest concerns are kind of, as we're thinking about potentially opening in the next few weeks, how are we going to, we have a tentative plan, and we're meeting with our leadership group tomorrow, but kind of just thinking about logistically, I'd love to know what some of you guys are doing and where you're at in the process, and what, as far as like labeling and signage, I think and like entrance and exit onto campuses. Those are some of the questions I have that I'm wondering if other people have all the answers.
Mhm.
The other question I have is, is anybody having their students sign waivers in the sense of we understand we're sending our children at their own risk while safety procedures are in place, that there's always the option your child could get sick, and if your child cannot follow safety procedures, they will be asked to stay home, right? Is any of that going out for anybody?
No, I feel behind if you guys are talking about these things. I don't know. We haven't talked about waivers in our district. And then as far as signage and everything around campus, I think I'm up in Elk Grove near Sacramento. So the earliest we could come back is maybe the 12th, the 13th. But there's no way. We have 65,000 kids in our district. There's no way we can turn a system that fast. So, I mean, for me, the earliest I think we would be coming back is January, but I can't imagine trying to keep kids apart on a campus. I don't know how that's going to work. I mean, that you just have to do the best you can. And I think you could have all the dots you want. It's hard. It's going to be hard. Yeah.
So our district put them in over the summer because we thought originally that we'd be able to come back hybrid at the very beginning of the year. So our county is still in purple, and so we can only come back in small cohorts right now. So officially, we're supposed to be starting school, everybody, in January, if we're allowed to, right? If the board passes the cohorts, then we would come back. Our first cohorts would come back October 26th. But the signage that we have is in the office because no visitors can come past the office. But in terms of waivers, what our attorneys told us is that there's no insurance against that. There's no indemnity. So you're pretty much, it doesn't matter. And if somebody gets sick, you will as a district be bankrupt. And so, I mean, I know that's not like, that's so heartwarming, and I think that's really like the biggest reason why the schools in particularly have been on such strict lockdown when so many other places have been opening up. Although I don't know how you would pinpoint where somebody got anything, but
yeah. An article just came out how the ones that the schools that have opened so far, there isn't a correlation to schools in terms of increased COVID instances. So far the data is positive in that regard.
Yeah. Your legal teams will start talking to you about workers' comp now, because it now has clear definitions of workers' comp and getting COVID at work. And there's some other things that are going to start happening January 1 about leaves, about your your employees, if their children are on hybrid schedules, how they can have leave on the days that their kids are not going to school. So we're going to have to orchestrate substitutes for those occasions as well. So as far as nuts and bolts, so I'm curious, middle schools, how's your AB day go with periods, different periods?
You know, we had come up, we had a task force in the summer, of which I was a part of, and in a neighboring high school, they have this. We're calling it a 3x3. So our kids it's scheduling. If you've done master scheduling before, it was a nightmare, total nightmare, but it's done. But we basically, kids have the same 3 classes. So they have a total of 6 classes. They have the same 3 classes for quarters 1 and 3. And then the other 3 classes for quarters 2 and 4.
We're doing the same. We did the same thing in Elk Grove for schools that are on a 6-period day. So the same thing, but we're still full distance learning for right now. But if you guys come back, how are you handling it if a teacher can't come back? If they can't come on site, but they can stay in distance learning? And are you letting kids choose to stay in distance learning if they want?
For our district, we're calling it DLA, Distance Learning Academy. And so those parents had the choice to opt in for all year. So that's another addition to why scheduling was very difficult this year, because we had to pull from our regular teachers to go into this DLA program and then shuffle around who we have on campus and what they can teach and what their credentials are. So, so we do have this DLA program. And those kids are in it for the long haul. They have their teachers, they're set, they're going to be at home all year. Their teachers will be at home all year. So they're out of kind of the equation. I oversee my teachers still, and I go into their Zoom sessions and do their evaluations. But they're off campus for the rest of the year. And that's an issue that's coming up right now because it's in the papers and all over the media that we could in our county open by the 21st. And people are, some are pushing for that. Some are upset about that, of course. And some people are saying, wait, I didn't know that I wanted DLA. Now I really want it. We've already, worked with HR to pull people from the general population of teachers. So we're not letting people opt in at this point. So it's a great option for the families, but some people are now having second thoughts and wanting in it. But when they come back, so DLA will stay in DLA and the rest of the kids will come back. A cohort will come back Tuesday, Thursday. B cohort will come back Wednesday, Friday, and then they'll rotate Mondays because we have days that we don't have Mondays school because of holidays. So, and then on their off day, they'll be home doing our new word, asynchronous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Does that sound like everyone else's schedule for returning to school, reopening? What are some other options you have? Is it week to week, or how are you splitting it?
So we're doing when we get there, but our A group will come Monday, Tuesday, and then our B group will come Thursday, Friday, and then Wednesday is our asynchronous deep clean day, so that day is the day that everything gets cleaned and sanitized and what have you.
That's a good idea.
And then we decided this year, we're a 6 period also, but we decided to go to a block schedule at the middle school and high school. So we do 3 periods on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Wednesday we do 6 periods, 6 40-minute periods, and then the other 2 days are 80-minute periods.
That's great.
That's an interesting way to do it too.
Is anybody talking about live streaming classes? So the teacher kids could remain full distance learning, and then kids could come back and then the lesson would be live streamed. Is anybody currently doing that, or is it just in talks?
I'm South Pasadena Middle School, and we're LA County, so who knows when we'll ever make it back. But in theory, we our ABC schedule. C is our families who committed to stay home for the entire year. B is any siblings, and then A is just the random kids. And then we have block schedules. So When we come back, Monday it will be an asynchronous day because it's a shortened schedule with every period. And then we have A's on Tuesday, Thursdays, B's on Wednesday, Friday. And the teacher will live stream so that the B kids will be watching at home and the C kids will always be watching at home. Every classroom has the dual monitor setup so they can have the Zoom open and then have their lesson open. And right now our teachers, I mean, we have everybody at home, but we have 90-minute blocks and the teachers are required to teach live for 50% of it for every period. And so it's a juggle, and I don't, all we talk about is how it's not going to work when we come back because you're picturing, a teacher with a mask, 10 kids in the room with a mask, 20 kids, on your computer screen, and there's no joy in any part of the planning for it, that's for sure.
How did you get in terms of like your union for the live streaming portion of that? Because that's been a huge hiccup for us.
It's a huge hiccup.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a huge hiccup. And so what our board did, I mean, we still don't have a signed MOU, but what our board did was say that this is the instructional model that they adopted. And now all the details of the model, they're trying to kind of put into the MOU, but they didn't give an option for what the instructional model would look like. They adopted a model. And the biggest issue, the teachers wanted like the full wellness day. And then when it came out that you needed 240 minutes a day, we didn't put in a wellness day. And so there's a lot of ill will related to that because everybody's tired and stressed, and it's a lot.
I don't see a difference between distance learning and hybrid when it comes to live streaming, because right now we're live streaming for everybody.
Yep.
So it would just be having some kids on campus and some kids remaining at home. So in that sense.
And then we do have like a task force that's like preparing for when we come back in the hybrid model. And like Kelly, the biggest concern that our task force is dealing with right now is how to use the restrooms. Because we don't have the ability to have an indoor and an outdoor, like the 6 feet apart, or how to control how many kids are in the restroom at the same time. And, we talked about giving keys, but then if there's multiple keys out. I was in a LACO meeting yesterday and they're dividing their restrooms by they're doing cohorts, most of the schools where they're keeping the kids together and the teachers are moving classrooms. And so certain classroom groups will have certain restrooms, so they will only ever be exposed to each other. But I do think that's going to be tricky, figuring out what the bathroom situation will be like. And then we're ending before lunch. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, and then our schedule will end before lunch, so we won't serve lunch on campus, and we don't have to worry about that supervision for sure.
Oh, that's lucky.
Will you guys be doing a takeaway lunch or something like that?
Yeah. It's a grab and go.
Okay.
Us too. But do you feel like the bathrooms weren't a big enough problem that now we have to monitor this? Like this takes, I mean, vaping is almost like, let's do that instead.
That was easy, huh?
Yeah, for the restrooms, I mean, as far as we've gotten at this point is we are lucky that we have several campus supervisors on campus. So we'll have campus, and we really don't have that many restrooms on our campus. But we'll have campus supervisors outside of all the restrooms, and we're going to ask teachers to have a, check in, check out, but we really can't, nor should we tell kids, no, they can't go to the restroom during class. If they have to go, they have to go, they have to go. Middle schoolers, a lot of times they're not telling them to just wander, but regardless, we need to give them that opportunity. So the restroom issue, it's big concern of ours. We're not sure what to do. The key idea is interesting, like, at a gas station.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about?
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea. Then for sure there are only 2 out at a time for each bathroom.
Right.
So I don't know what it's called, but I know that there's a software where the teachers can go onto your website, and so the teachers can log and ask for like a restroom escort, and then your campus supervisor can come and escort the student to the restroom.
That's a great idea. Did you say, is it an app or what is it?
Yeah, it's some kind of app, and I know a person who uses it, so I could definitely get you in contact with somebody. But the teacher would just click onto this little app that you would put on your on your website or however you do it, and they just ask for an escort, and then it goes straight to whatever device you use for your campus supervisors, and then they just go to that classroom and then walk the student just to that proximity, not like to the bathroom, but just so you're now there's only one kid over there. And we've talked about that a lot in terms
That's
of
a good idea.
Great idea.
The kids will hate it. The kids they'll be so sad. That's a good idea.
If you're opening in the next couple of weeks, I put in the chat McAuliffe Middle School in Los Alamitos. The principal there, they opened up like 2 weeks ago, and he has an Instagram. And actually did a video of this is how you line up in the morning, and then this is how you stand.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
And the one thing that I was like, I don't know if I agree with this, but they walk in and they demonstrated how every kid, as they go into their classroom, gets the spray bottle, sprays and wipes down their desks, throws the paper away, does the hand sanitizer, sits and does like the morning message on the board. And so they modeled that. They modeled how the kids are going to go up one stairwell and down a different one, what will happen at their brunch. But he had like all these kind of little video vignettes. And so seeing it, I had a couple aha moments. So if you check his Instagram, or it might be on their webpage too.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, they have a lot of good ideas. And then he did some like live parent meetings, like telling the parents like it's gonna be bumpy, but just we're coming back.
And he's already started back?
Yeah, they've been back for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm checking it out now. I'm gonna follow them.
Yeah,
Me too.
Talk
Thanks.
about like a overachiever, but it's all good.
Yeah.
And not only is he an overachiever, he seems like really cool and fun, and they do these raps and all stuff. And I was like, just let it go. But it does. There's some good ideas.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for that resource.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, why would we reinvent the wheel? Like, we're all trying to do the same thing,
Exactly.
Like at different times and in different counties and parts of the state, but why not share ideas?
Exactly. It's crazy times.
That's wild.
50 minutes is a long time.
Is there anything else anyone wants to share? So you talked about restrooms. How about things like buses? You want to talk about anything else, or taking temperatures, or do you have plans like that you want to talk about? Or have you guys gotten that far with your planning with?
So the buses are the one thing that we're doing the waivers for. We're actually having that somebody gave us a sample of a waiver form to ride the buses, and so actually we're going to utilize that.
John, will you email that to me and I'll share it with everybody? Would you mind that waiver?
Yeah, let me do that. I actually got it from Atwater Elementary, which is here in Merced County, but I'll look for it and I'll send it to you. And it's exactly what one of our colleagues said before. It's that piece of paper is not gonna hold any weight in court, but it's just if parents are signing that, they're probably it's a little bit of a safeguard. And then we're doing one to a seat in our buses right now because that's what we think we're being told by the health department. So that makes it difficult.
Yeah.
What tier are you in?
We just went to red, so we're actually 12 days away from being able to bring students back. But again, in my district, we're holding out till January because we got so much to work out.
Yeah.
And is there
Our colleagues
parent
in Fresno
pushback? Are parents?
No parent pushback.
Or they're
No.
understanding?
Yeah, in fact, we have quite a few of our parents that like our distance learning, what we're doing right now. So we have a feeling we're going to have a large group of parents that want to stay distance learning, which is going to be problematic, like we've talked about before. But yeah, transportation is interesting because what we had also decided we're going to do seating charts on the buses, and we're going to, as best as we can, siblings, I guess siblings could ride in the same seat on a bus.
Mm.
And so what we want to do with the seating charts is that child will go to that spot always, so that, there'll be less chances of, I don't know, you know what I mean, contaminating or whatever. So
That's a good idea. And what about?
Yeah, and we actually are going to. What about what?
I was going to ask just everybody what about desks? Like we have cohorts, which I think everybody has some version of that.
Mm-hmm.
So like desks, we were going to put, they all have to be 6 feet apart, of course. So like if you have a table where 2 kids can sit, then one kid is the A person will always sit in the A side and the B person always on the B side. Is that what you guys are doing?
Yeah. And we're getting the shields. I'm putting the shields up.
Between every seat, every person?
Well, we're doing, if it's at a desk, we won't need to because we'll be 6 feet apart, but a lot of our classrooms are doing table seating. So we figure if there are 4 students at a table, then we would only need 2 shields. And if there are 3 students or 6 students, we would need 3 shields. And if there are 2 students, we'd need 1 shield. So.
How's funding with
Anybody
that?
else? What are you doing for sitting?
That's my question.
That's that COVID money.
Yeah. Is there plenty of COVID money still?
Yeah.
Yeah, but who's got the best bargain out there for the shields?
Yeah.
Right?
Sounds pricey.
There's no bargain. Yeah. This is almost like one person dedicated in purchasing that should be doing all of this for you, but nobody has that.
Kathleen says in the chat, we've ordered single desks. All desks will have a shield, including the teacher's desk. That sounds expensive too.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
Wow.
So we did shields for the teacher area, and we have single student desks, and we'll have the A rows on one side of the room and then the B rows on the other side. And so there will be,
Brilliant.
A day off for cleaning, and so they won't ever commingle.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that sounds smart.
And you'll tell the kids, don't touch the other kid's desk if they're not here today, right?
All that stuff will be crazy. And then we already have like all the PPE, like we have our like masks and shields and dots and arrows. All that has already been done.
Yep.
The arrows will be all faded by the time we ever get back to class.
I know.
And then we're not.
The
other decision we made is that we're not going to use lockers when we come back. So that's one less thing to monitor.
Are kids going to change for PE?
So I think our plan as of right now is we are going to keep PE in the distance model, as well as chorus. Because those classes are big and we can't spread them apart, and they're singing, you can sing with your mask, and maybe even band. Like band's still controversial. We can maybe do it, we can't, but PE and chorus we are keeping virtual for the whole year.
Oh, interesting.
That makes sense. Because we don't have we don't requirement for minutes. Yeah.
So what do they do on that during that period?
So it was a master schedule nightmare to say the least, but we made 3 cohorts in Aries, and then we put PE only first and second period or 5th and 6th period. So kids either come late or go home early.
Ooh, good idea.
Do any of
Do
you use
all of your
Synergy?
kids like come on their own?
Sorry?
Yeah, they would come on their own then, right?
Yeah. South Pasadena's like the whole
Yeah.
community is 3.5 miles.
Okay.
It's really small. Our kids walk to school.
Mm.
Nice neighborhoods. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
What about playtime? Either for the littles or the big, have you guys thought, like we were brainstorming with our campus supervisors just about like different activities they can do where they're not touching the same ball or in the same space necessarily. But, you know, there's not a lot of hula hoops. But, I mean, there's, you know, we came up with like badminton and kickball and all kinds of things that are a little bit different that you don't have to necessarily be right with each other, but it's going to keep the kids out of trouble because they'll be active.
Mm.
But they would still require, like with our supervision group that's on campus right now, they all have gloves that they wear. I don't know if they're disposable or not. Somebody washes them. I don't, but they do have gloves. So, I mean, if they, like, for instance, played kickball, somebody's touching the ball to roll it, the first base, whatever. So have you guys thought about activities for the kids to keep them going when they get back? I mean, if they're
We're high school, so they're just going to text their friends.
I was going to say, yeah. Let them break out the
We talked about that too today.
Try to sneak into the other cohort.
A couple of us talked about that today. We were thinking maybe we loosen our reins on cell phones when they come back.
Huh.
You know,
Yeah.
that's an
Not a bad
activity. I mean,
idea.
we're gonna.
It's a really good idea.
Yeah. So
Well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to campaign for anybody that has to create a master schedule more than 2 times in a year gets 2 weeks off. Paid. I don't know how you guys do it.
That's wild.
Crazy year.
Yeah, really.
Are
crazy.
any of you using Synergy? Like, I'm curious about the people who have the AB cohorts. Do you have Synergy as your student information system?
No, we're Aries.
Okay.
We're
Aries.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't create cohorts or anything at the beginning of the year. That was what was talked about. And then when we decided we were going full distance learning, we just kept our master schedules the way they were. And so that's the issue right now, is how do we keep those schedules but bring kids back? So we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where we are. I don't know.
kind of unwrap it now that it's, yeah. That was one thing with the master scheduling difficult at the beginning of the year, where we were told and we all agreed that let's come up with a plan now that will take us through any situation. But it's really going to be like you're going to deal with a nightmare at the beginning of the year before school starts with master schedule, or in the middle of the year when they come back.
Yeah, and like you're saying, people may choose the distance learning option, but then if you're coming back, they might be like, oh, we want our kid back. And then you have people switching, and it's just, what a pain.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it'd be great to bring kids back and everything, but there's just so many layers to everything that needs to be taken care of. And
so many layers. It's true.
Well, and I mean, Kelly, you're saying that so it sounds like your district's holding the line though on that. You made a decision.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. I don't know what your districts are like, but ours, like, cause we have like a homeschool option, but the kids are just jumping ship in and out and in and out. And it's like, this is ridiculous. It's so hard. And it does a disservice to them too, because they're not using the same curriculum. So now they transfer in, they don't know what's going on, or they transfer back to the homeschool. None of it's so good.
Yeah, and I mean, we could have, in hindsight, like even as we're talking, we could have just started the year, everybody in a class, and then when we come back, then figure out who's going to do distance learning, who's going to teach it, who wants to be in it. Because I mean, I'm a parent, and we just sent my son back just last week, and it's kind of heartbreaking if you haven't done it yet. Like, it's very emotional because for all reasons, it's just, but if we had maybe done distance learning and offered that right when it's time to go back, you really have a true emotion and the parents can make real decisions in real time, as opposed to what might be happening in the future. Then it would have been a scramble now to unravel those classes because if because it had to go through the union, had to go through HR. So if a kid is just teaching history right now to the kids online, then all of a sudden he's going to go to DLA but not be their teacher. That's not cool either, you know, to the kids who started being a teacher.
And that's what we did at the beginning of the year. So my 6th grader, his teacher went to the homeschool option at the beginning of the year. So he lost his teacher.
Right.
And then
Right.
As we go back, if all those kids come
Right.
back, then we're going to have this huge shuffle again. And because now they're allowing these kids to transfer back, because now we just hit quarter, and so they can transfer again. And so we're going to have another huge shift, and it's a shift on the kids. It's a shift to the teacher because the teachers are being involuntary transferred. And then, you know, I mean, it's a lot of turmoil for a lot of people.
And and some teachers are upset with others because the senior teacher gets it and they didn't really want it. And well, I have a condition, an underlying condition, and I can't go to distance learning, so now I have to take leave. Yeah. There's those kinds of conversations that the teachers are having with each other, and they're getting upset with each other too. And we really don't need that right now. You know,
and something we've already started dealing with without kids even back, which you may have already, is that we've already had staff who have had to take, you know, be off campus because they have symptoms and come back for 72 hours.
Yep.
And one was exposed to something, so had to be out for 2 weeks, you know, so and imagine that when all of our people are back, like it'll be interesting. That's for darn sure.
So the other day in our principal meeting, somebody asked, like, is the risk worth the reward, like for bringing kids back?
That's a really good question to ask. Yes.
For all of these things that are going on, because you know, yes, we want to bring kids back. We want them on campus. We want them socializing and all of that piece. But then all of the pieces that need to be in place for it to be successful. And then if it's going to happen, a teacher's going to get sick, they're going to have to quarantine. Then what do? Who's taking the place of that teacher? Are they even as good as that teacher? Where if you just leave everybody home for the year, people can stay safe, people can keep teaching, doing their thing. You know, I don't know. It was a good question to ask.
I think
that's the voice of reason.
Houses, though, because I look at our community, because of the nature of our community, we have houses that are doing really well, and we have large pockets that don't have internet, that aren't accessing. You know, I went to do a packet drop off, and you know, I mean, I'm out there, it's like 5 miles of no cell phone access. They come to the door. There's more marijuana smell than Humboldt County. I mean, how are these kids learning? How are they, you know?
So you could utilize the 25% waiver to bring those kids only back on your campus.
And that's what I wanted to do, but that wasn't what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I have a boss. I can't do whatever I
want. But it's okay to give your opinion. I'm a superintendent and I listen to everybody. Be brave. Be brave. Yeah, be brave. Katie, I think for our next principal's call, I think we should allow adult beverages.
I think that's a great idea.
Well, we're all at home. You don't know.
Yes, I can do that.
This feels like a support group more than fine, because we need this.
It is nice to talk to people outside of my district. I mean, we're a very large district, but it's nice to just hear from different people across the state.
Yeah,
it is. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to take off. If Katie, if we can have each other's emails, I don't know if anybody else.
Yeah, well, actually, I was going to say, if you guys have time, maybe drop your personal email, because you know how district emails often get filtered out, and so that way, if you want, I can make I can make a little table and share it with you guys, just with you guys, you know, and that way, if you want to email each other, whatever, you can all have access to each other's emails. Would you like that? Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And also, everybody remember CLS. We're here for you. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
like I'm a superintendent, that's my day job, but I'm with CLS and I'm here for you. You can call me anytime too.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you.
I'll put
Talk to you
John's
later.
number there and,
Thank
and
you.
say,
Yeah.
call John. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for organizing this. That was great.
Yeah, thanks you guys.
Yeah.
So we are
Thank
going to
you.
have it again on the 22nd, 2 weeks. What topic would you like from, do you want just this continued or is there another special?
Yeah, let's continue this.
Okay.
Yeah, let's continue. That's my thoughts. That's my thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or there might be somebody that brought the kids back and we can learn from them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Yeah,
2
I may
weeks.
be back
Yeah.
by then.
You
Yeah,
will
who
be?
knows?
I don't know. We don't
Who
know.
knows what 2 weeks will bring?
Yeah, sounds good. We'll see. Yeah.
Good night, you guys. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. I'm
All
taking
right.
off too. Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks.
For
Vinny,
those
I like
See you
your
later.
setup, Vinny.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. For those that are still on, just really quickly, there's we have the new teacher masterclass starting November 9th. If you're interested, $199, really great intensive support for your new teachers at this time. And it's at legalschools.org/new-teacher.-pd. And I'll send out a link to that too, but just giving a pitch in case that's helpful with 4 seasoned practitioners. So it'd be good, get good supports. And thank you so much for being here. It's really great to see everybody. And we'll hopefully see you in 2 weeks and hang in there doing great work for kids.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.